the first edition of the Animators Guild India Fest 2022 on the 26th and 27th of November at Pioneer Hall, Bandra West, Mumbai. Tickets available on Book My Show, presented by Solitaire.
Hi everyone, welcome to another pre-fest session of AGIF 2022, and I'm today here with the super talented Longbir Ingti Kathar. Let me tell you a little bit about him first. Longbir has spent 15 years in the Indian television and broadcast animation industry for global networks like MTV, Nickelodeon, Disney, in various capacities from art director to executive producer. He has developed, produced, and launched more than 20 animated series for Indian kids television. I've had the pleasure of knowing Long since college, and I can safely say that the man has creativity oozing out of him. First things first, please keep your questions ready and we will ask them to Long in a Q&A session right after his presentation. Thank you so much, and over to you, Long. Hi, Long.
Thanks, Rishi. Thanks, Pratik. Great intro, man. I mean, yeah, we go back long ago, and we are still here. So thanks for introducing me. And well, I can't see anybody. Is that how it is?
Yeah. The comments will
Okay.
keep calling in and
Okay.
adding in.
Okay. All right.
And you have to turn your phone off, Long.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm just gonna go ahead and share a screen, right?
Yep.
Present it and start off with that. Yeah, is it visible?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Okay. So as the topic says, it's pretty clear how to make a sellable animation show, and I'll try explaining things where in my past experience of making shows and conducting various series, and it's a vast topic to say. It's a vast topic to discuss, but I've tried my best to like concise this thing in a 1 hour session with the Q&A and everything. So I'll just go ahead and to the next slide. I am Longbir Ingti Kathar. I work as a executive producer for animation. I am ex NID. I'm a NID alumni. I did animation. I studied animation filmmaking. In my past experience, I have worked with a lot of people, including Webhub Studios, Nickelodeon, Hangama, when Hangama TV was not bought by Disney. This is like way back 2005, 6. MTV, Pogo, Walt Disney, ultimately. So in various capacities and fields, but always been in kids division. So the channels that I have worked with have always catered to kids, and in that way, Indian animation, in terms of like the full-fledged right now, the series development scene that we are into has not really taken off till 2008, thanks to Chota Bheem. But before that, in small capacities, in terms of promos, in terms of making interstitials, in terms of tidbits like that, I have always been involved with kids space. So talking
Long,
about
tell us a bit about your promo background as well, because you've worked over the whole range of even
oh
short
yeah,
form too long. Yes.
yeah, my good fortune, because at that time when we were starting off after college, we thought like we'll straight away be going to animation industry, which was not so the case. That we discovered in 2005, 6, that era, 2007. At that point, places like Nickelodeon, Nick India had encouraged and had shared opportunities with us regarding interstitial animation and all. In fact, Pratik and I had worked on a couple of ideas ourselves where we had executed from scratch and animated clay animation, animated for Nickelodeon in promo forms, and plus overseas animation like Doraemon and everything used to play on the channel. And I used to be in the promos team where we used to cut, review, watch like tons of these this series of animation, Japanese animation made in the early 80s and 90s, consumed all of that and saw all of that, did the crux of it, studied it. In fact, that was my job, and then that job actually required me to be in collaboration with a lot of other field people, like your music division, your editors, your Smoke at that time was the VFX. Now, before Premiere, sorry, After Effects and everything had come to fore. At that point, Smoke was the whole new machine. It was the high tech thing to do, and that was the promo experience. From there on, I have moved on to actually all kind of. We were just looking out for like opportunities to explore, but always been in kids division, as I said. Sorry, just this is awkward.
That's just shameful. Very bad. Minus 20
Yeah.
points.
Minus 20 points. Yeah, this is the sin of
Okay,
having
we've got lots
phones,
of
man.
people saying hi, hello while you can multitask. You can look at the messages, and I've also got Shashank Acharya here who says hi long. We've got Rituparna, we've got Rajesh and Troy saying hey, what's up?
Yeah,
So,
hi.
are you replying to an email right now?
No. Okay. So back to the point. Very bad practice. So I'll just like jump straight to the point here, and so we are going to talk about animation content development, and I, I I call it animation content lifecycle, where we have the story, the design, the broad perspective of this thing is we have got the story, the design, the pre-production, production, distribution. So slowly and slowly, I'm going to like try to explain this vast thing, because these are like too many moving parts, and in 1 hour you can't really grasp the thing. But I'll try to concise it. So what it takes to make an animated content. Okay, so you have got the story structure right, you've got to have your character development and script, which which then again goes into the design part, where you uh, draft the bible, the style guide, how it should look, those characters, whatever has been done in script, whatever has been done in word form, how do you translate that into visual form. So the design deals with all the visual elements, like fixing the color palette, choosing the right voices for the character, the voice acting bit, sound design sound design and music. Then that part then goes into something like a storyboard. Animatic is storyboard, basically, but then clubbed with your marrying it with uh, music, voices, and other effects. So, and then asset building, meaning we have to divide the parts of the body movement of the character and everything into small little, hands, wrist, legs, all of that. And then you have to rig them in terms of being able to move them individually. So that is what it means. We have the background art to be executed there. Now production takes the longest time, and then that, after all this pre-production and the rest of the thing is done, we move into production, where it is hardcore on the animation, where the animation department people are assigned to just animate those things after the rigging and everything is done, compositing, and the final output. So in this, from here, in this four little parts here, I mean, it's a huge part. You have got the final product, then comes your going to the platform. So your distribution part is your broadcasting, your marketing, your licensing. Broadcasting is now, if you take an example of YouTube, that is also a broadcasting platform, where you are the owner of the channel, any which way. So either it is TV network or YouTube, it would apply in both market. Marketing is another thing where it propels your product into places where your TV can't reach, like your on ground schools, your malls, and all of that. So it marketing pushes your content where your original platform can't reach. So licensing is something where you have an acquired product, an acquired animation series where you deal with, where you have licensing fees and etc. Merchandising is again products which is uh, take an example of Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, properties like Chota Bheem, where it has all kinds of water bottles to everything else. So that is the whole life cycle. That is how one generate the content and revenue at the same point. At the same point. So yeah, moving on. So content format. I want to talk a little bit about content format. What is content format? You have got the broadcast TV series where it is banned for children from age group from 9 to 14. 9 to 14. That's the category of it's a series. So I'll compare straight with feature films where you have a longer format and it's consumed in one sitting. I mean, it cannot be played every day. It cannot be played over a week. You have to come in and consume it in one sitting. And you have the web cartoon uh, slash YouTube thing. For example, Simon the Cat. There are numerous other IPs and everything on YouTube, but these are the formats that we are talking about here. Series is very different from feature in a way that it has a shorter span, but then again it can be repeatedly broadcasted. So you have series in one season, you have episodes of like 50 to 100. But feature film is something which, again, like I said, longer duration, but can be consumed only in one sitting. It cannot be played, 2 3 over the week, 7 days. The value is not the same. So the consumption pattern are different from each of this. Now something like YouTube, you can watch it on the go. You don't have to have a scheduled watching. you, Once you have the device, you can watch it anywhere, anytime you want. So there is no on broadcast series. It is not like that. It is one static medium, one place. You have to be in one place and watch it there. Even though now it's changing like that, but these are the basic formats that we're talking about. So the power of platforms, I want to emphasize a little bit what these platforms do and what they offer. So broadly, I have jotted down couple of things like the channel. I'm talking about. I'll go from left to right. Network TV, your Disney Channel, your Cartoon Network, example, OTT, video on demand apps, Netflix, Disney Plus, Hotstar. Then you have your YouTube, which is also another new emerging and rapidly emerging platforms. The differences are noted down. I'm just going to explain it a little bit here. So channels are in network TV. The channels are owned by big corporations, and they are huge network. So Disney itself owns now UTV, all the channels, and Star also. So and they have their presence on OTT as well. So the larger the network, how does it help creator? Is the larger the network, the better for the content to travel. So in a sense, if you have a deal with Disney Channel and Disney, it will show your content in each and every platform as much as possible. So your circulation of your content gets they say legs, so it travels better. On OTT, this is the similar kind of experience, because the owners and the business owners are almost the same. Woot is owned by Viacom, again, large network studios. Prime is owned by Amazon. Disney Plus, Hotstar. Disney Plus is owned by Disney. So, but YouTube on the other hand is like, your channel is, you are the owner. I mean, there is nobody else here. You are the owner of the channel. You can do whatever else you want. So the task that these people do to market online or offline the product that you have made already, that you will have to do it all by yourself on a platform like YouTube, because you own it. The marketing and everything else is up to you, while the other network TV and OTT, they take care of it, they spend their money, they propel it. But the upside is that it's going to see a huge audience. But on a downside for the creator, the revenue sharing is entirely this. I mean, unless there is some royalty sharing policy on everything, as of now in India, I don't think it is there yet. But on the revenue sharing point of view, YouTube is better than these platforms, because they have Google ads, have a revenue sharing of owner gets to keep 49% and 50% keeps by Google. That is still better than this thing, unless you have a viral video and you are quite popular on the platform. Then advertising money and everything is, they are quite clear about the sharing factor. The others are not so much. So this is the plus and minus of the platforms. Now coming to the real content, the real issue here: how to make sticky content, how to make. We always keep asking ourselves, how do we approach, how do we make an IP? What does it take to make an IP? What is an IP? All of that, I'll try to answer it one by one. So any content, I mean, for movie or theater or for anything, this is very important to identify your target group, target audience, who you're writing for, what you're writing for, and why you're writing for is very important questions to ask oneself, who is the creator of an IP, who wants to make something in the IP market, because that is crucial, because that is, again, it is how relevant to the audience is a crucial point where the audience will ask, and how will that affect their lives. It is so important that they have to see this thing. These are the things that, why would they see your content and leave some other content which is already on the market and come to you? And that is something which only your research, knowing your TG, knowing your whom I'm talking to, whom I'm writing to, what is the age group, what are the people, what are the consumption pattern. For example, now writing something for preschool kids who are like, very young children, is very different from writing for somebody who's like an office goer, who's an adult, or even a teenagers. So writing for somebody like a preschoolers is something like, they don't have the power to decide, or the purchasing power. They don't have any income. They don't decide. A kid, 3 years old child, will never decide what content he or she wants to watch. It is the mom. So your target audience automatically becomes the parent. So you are trying to impress, so you're trying to gain, you're trying to woo the parent rather than the child, because then again, if you're impressing the mom, she will definitely show your content to her child. So your targeting becomes a little different here. So you end up studying the mom and the pattern of, their uh, who uh, is she as housewife, and does she go to work, what kind of lifestyle she has, what kind of things that she likes. So these are target marketing or research, in a way, that to know and identify your TG exactly, how he or she would come to your platform and see your content. All these factors play a very, very hardcore role. Another thing is by design. So to woo this target target market, one has to design. I'll take an example after this slide. One has to design your stories and of course, these are all stories by the end of the day. So you're designing your stories in a pattern, in a way that, they are in your hands. They are just, you are just feeding them off your palm, like that kind of how would you do that? Is, I mean, it's no less than magic, but there are some methods, some way, by design, that we approach to any scenario. This we are talking about marketing, this we're talking about script writing. I'll go to the next slide now. What I'm talking about, I'll take an example of IKEA stores. IKEA stores, they have a design philosophy which targets at the audience. They are meticulously designed, walkabout, and they're designed to sell. So these things are like maze like warehouse, where there's only, it's like there's only one way out. I mean, you enter an IKEA store, and then you have to come out the way they have designed the door, and the you can randomly go and come your own way. There is no like separate doors that you can go. So in a way, they are designed for the customers to look at things that they, IKEA, want you to look at. So in a way, by the end of the thing, by the end of the tunnel, you end up buying what IKEA wants you to look at, what IKEA wants you to advertise, what IKEA wants you to buy. So it's a very specific kind of a choreograph thing here, and you can see clearly here is a maze-like warehouse. Layout of the store is strategic. Of course, one-way traffic. You just go one way and come the other way. I mean, you can't really like free mind here and do something else. You will end up spending more time than you plan for, and the customers and end up buying everything that IKEA wants you to. So similar stuff, similar stuff in content. It works the same way. Uh, there are principles of storytelling. There are principles of consumption that is not really, it's natural because we have been trained and have been seen like that. So it's human nature, rather than it's a force design. It is by design. I'm talking about the next slide here. By design, we will see how stories affect us, how well designed some stories are, and some stories are not so. So many factors play an effect here. You have retention, which is psychology of audience attention span, and we have got 3 act structure, which the story structure I was talking about. You have pacing, which is like how soon can we get to the point of the story, rather than just loosely hanging around there for us to just meander about. Ad placement is something which is like we will see what we're talking about here in a way. Retention is, I would put it, audience retention, in a way that it's one of those anti sleep speed bumpers. If you have encountered in your life on highway, there's a whole stretch of empty highway. You put your foot down, there's only one speed, cruise control. You tend to like feel drowsy or sleepy. These speed breakers, what they do is they, if you have experienced that thing when you take your car on it, it is intended to wake you up. It is intended to wake the
Love the
driver up.
sound effects. Love the sound effects. That.
It is because if you are not driving and you're sleeping, the only effect that you get to know is this. It's called anti-driving, anti-sleep, driver anti-sleep speed bumpers. I would compare that. I would compare that to audience retention thing, because that is what your story needs to have, like speed bumpers here and there, and not go stale. Otherwise, you cannot afford to have your audience sleeping on you. So I'm just comparing this thing. Small little graph here, so that it's legit. Our attention span is reducing. How it was before. Now kids cannot stand 1 hour or 2 hours, let alone 3 hours Hindi movies and all. They just can't stand that. So it's getting shorter and shorter. Advertisers are getting worried about it. All your thanks to TikTok and the rest of the gambit. We are our people, as people, we cannot stare at something which is not grabbing our attention immediately. So the competition is fierce. Now the most important thing, and this is exciting because I would like you to pay your pay attention here. 3 act structure of a story. So what does it mean? A storytelling from beginning to end has a graph, and it needs to evoke that emotion out of the audience. This is age old. This is not recent. This is nothing. This is from like cavemen to Shakespeare to whoever it is. We have experienced all all of us. So basically it says that it has 3 acts, 3 acts, 3 parts to any story. So the graph looks like it has to begin, it has to incite something, some incident needs to happen there, which becomes the cause of conflict between people, between the characters, or between, and then we need to see the and his how he tackles with that scenario, and come victorious. So that's to it. I mean, this is the science of going about this thing, and it is a must for any IP developer, story writer, or anybody to pay very very close attention to this thing. I will not go into the length of discussing this. You can obviously check it out on internet or anything. Just remember that this 3 act structure, and I'm going to give an example of this in the next slide now. And we have this. So I'm just going to give an example of Disney and Toons collaboration, the Jubhai.
1 second. Is that Baba Sehgal?
No. Baba Sehgal was the title singer for this. I had taken a pic with him, so I have to have him here. This particular episode I'm going to talk about is called
I'm
Ducky.
sorry, I'm distracted. Did you groove with him?
Yeah, no. I didn't do Thanda Thanda Pani with him.
Sorry.
So, so to highlight that why I picked this thing, a particular thing, because I was working as an executive producer on the show also. Plus, I was the writer on this one particular episode. Fortunately, this won a Fiki Frames Award in 2017. So for the show, it is still available on a Disney Hotstar as of now. Anyone can, if interested, please go ahead, check it out. The genre is buddy comedy. It's 11 minutes, targeted at 9 to 14 years old audience, and I'm going to deep dive into the story, how the story proceeds. So before that, sorry. So before that, just a background and context of the show. So the show is called Gajju Bhai. Gajju Bhai is this blue big elephant who happens to be a screen actor. He is our screen hero. Now Iravan, the smaller elephant, is a prince. He owns the kingdom. So Gajju Bhai is somebody who is on screen. He's a big hero and everything, and Iravan adores him. Iravan thinks that he's a real hero and everything, but inside he is a little bit pattu. He's a little bit like Johnny Bravo, but ultimately he comes to save the day. We have peripheral characters, like on the left side we have got a cheetah called Bhagat, who is Iravan's bodyguard. So he's kind of an angry man, all the time suspicious of everybody.
We have
And
Baba Sehgal on the left-hand side, my friend.
Baba Cycle, of course. We have Baba Cycle on the left, and thanks, Pratik. And we have a Mahaguru, who is an eagle. You can see from on the right top, he is hovering there. He's an eagle. He looks after Iravan. He is kind of a prophet. He's the soothsayer. He's all of that. We have at the bottom we have got a monkey. He comes with Gajju Bhai. He is his show director. So Iravan is always a fan of Gajju Bhai, and it's a buddy comedy. These two are good friends. and they look after each other. They love each other. So it's their story. It's a comedy mixed with like all kind of friendship. So I am going to jump into straight into the story now. And we've got this lovely morning in Iravan's garden. It's a kind of a jungle gym type thing where all the characters are like chattering about. Iravan talks about his how he missed his toy duck, rubber duck called Ducky long time ago. Now he's not there and everything. And suddenly, while all this chit chat is happening, we are seeing one of those dustbin, right, with animal figure and all. So those keep popping up and start gobbling up the rest of the character, till we see that Iravan and Gajju Bhai are suspicious, like something is up. Before they could think anymore, they are also being gobbled up by the dustbin creature, and they are sucked into this underworld type thing where Iravan sees that his friends are already up on the wall through some evil. I don't know who it is, and it is revealed that it is Ducky. You know, Ducky is the villain now. I mean, twist in the story. Iravan, here you can see on the frame number 24. Here you can see Iravan is so happy to see Ducky, that Ducky is all stubble and everything now. We don't know what has happened to him. He only talked about like his old friend Ducky and everything. Now Ducky, we know that he's an evil guy. He just appeared himself. Iravan wants to hug him and everything, and Ducky is also almost like giving it up. But then he realized he's evil now. I mean, he can't be distracted, so he slaps Iravan on the side, and then he is like, I hate this Gajju Bhai. He's actually tied him up because he is jealous. He's a jealous duck. He's a jealous duck of Gajju Bhai. Now we'll know why. And he has got some strange tickly monster, some robot thing. His way of torturing someone is quite funny. We can see here tickling Gajju Bhai, and Gajju Bhai is like all laughing about and least being tortured. But then that's Ducky. Ducky goes back in to memory lane, and then he's explaining to Iravan that we used to be such a good friend and everything, and once that squeezy little thing is there, no, in toys where if you squeeze them, it makes that noise. It's a whistle. So actually, what has happened is he squeezed Ducky so hard that a whistle popped out and Ducky became useless. I mean, with no noise. So obviously, he's a prince. He was crying out loud. So here on the frame 133, you'll see he's holding on to. This is not actually Gajju Bhai. This is his toy. So we know that Gajju Bhai is so popular. He's got merchandise also. So he's got a toy. So he start playing with Gajju Bhai's toy here, and Ducky is ignored, right? I mean, Ducky is like all depressed, and he doesn't have the whistle anymore and everything, and start consuming milk in heavy dose. So we've got like Ducky all full tanked up with milk, and he has like nowhere to go. This character has gone into like I have nothing to live for kind of a thing. So he is just like roaming around the street, and we see there's a dumpster truck picking him up and throwing him amongst garbage and dumps and everything. And then he realized that something is what has happened to me. I was loved in the palace and everything. I was the most loved toy, but look at me now. I'm in the dumps, literally in the dumps, with garbage and everything. Then we see that Ducky is up to no good. I mean, Ducky is like making his own army of this dustbin, thrown away all the rejects. Like basically, all the rejects have teamed up to people who uh, dispose them, and Iravan is that guy, and he blames all his misery and everything on Gajju Bhai. So he is like, march my minions and attack this guy. So then Iravan, being a little boy and everything, but then again he's brave little boy. He swings on the rope and everything and saves Gajju Bhai from the evil clutches of Ducky. And Ducky is so angry, blinded with anger and everything. They are still hanging on the rope and all. He cuts the rope and they fall down. And they fall down. Iravan was almost about to fall into that iron crusher, but Gajju Bhai stopped him, held him by the hand, but his mukut couldn't escape. So in the throne, uh, uh, the mukut goes into the crusher and it crushes. And Ducky sees this thing and he is realizing, like, what have I done? At the same time, we have heightened the drama of doing this thing, sweaty hands and everything, and he slips. Iravan slips, but elephants have some other trick up the sleeve, right? I mean, they don't have two hands; they have a trunk. So he saves him. Gajju Bhai saves Iravan with his trunk, and he is now, they are all like, friends, buddies. And what we see is like Ducky, seeing all this thing, is regretting that, what have I done? I have my favorite friend and everything. I try to kill him, or destroy him, or whatever. So he's like all dejected and everything. He's about to go and leave. uh, what we see is then Gajju Bhai then says, "No, you don't have to leave. You're missing something else which I can fix." So guess what he brings in? He brings in that squeezy little whistle, and he fixed him from his posterior here. And Ducky is like all happy and everything, and it's squeezing now. I mean, his Ducky is normal now. So Iravan plays with the duck and everything, and we see cut to that, it's they're chilling at Iravan's sweet little palace here, where they are being served milk. So serve the milk. Everybody is having milk, enjoying milk. But last, Ducky says, "Oh no, I am off milk now." So what we take away, it ends here. What we take away from the story is that story has a roller coaster emotionally. It takes us from, like, uh, quite little situation into an unexpected, really unexpected things. A simple toy can go into that kind of a crazy space of their backstory and everything, how they left aside, and the story of a revenge. And then you have the characters growth also here. Gajju Bhai is not only, he could have not saved, he could have just said, "Go away, Ducky, you are an evil guy." But his growth is also important here. His growth, in a way that he's a nice guy. I mean, we can all be friends, like that kind of attitude, a positive attitude, a character. We can definitely see a growth in a character. We can definitely see an evil, an innocent little toy, Ducky, I'm saying, innocent little toy turning evil, then coming back to four, coming back to, and the whole circle. So, and those are the points I would like to emphasize in this thing. And the story has twists and turns. It keeps you engaged. I would love to show the a video, but then again, it lags. So you can always check it out online streaming. I'll move on to the next thing. Uh, so bringing that to a show Bible. How do we create Bible? How do we what is Bible essentially, and why do we need this thing? A show Bible is a kind of document. Initially it was like a book in Disney days, where they keep all their documents for a pitch. So what is a pitch actually, and how do we approach this thing? I'm going to talk about that. So what potential buyers, meaning, your client, meaning your broadcasting partner, or your whoever it is that you are pitching the deck to, what they want to see. I'm going to talk about TV here, because that's my background, and that's the approach. I want to give an example. So see, as a creator, as somebody who is interested in creating an IP, one must know the client first, and what they do, what's their business, why are they calling for pitch. First of all, why do they need that? Why is it that, what are the things that I can, are they looking? Obviously it's a relationship of benefit relationship. There's no charity here, right? I mean, they want to show something on air because they want to increase their TRP, hence their marketing, revenue, hence their ad revenue, hence the income. I mean, that's the goal. So where do you fit in this thing? You must know about this equilibrium here. So the show that you're pitching, the idea that you're pitching, the deck you're involved in, either has to fit the programmer's brand promise, which is what they're looking for. It has to, every channel, every brand has their own ideology and their own system of taking what is acceptable to them or not. So that if you go to a Nickelodeon today with a pitch, they may accept you differently than a Disney. So that is what I mean by brand promise. They have a certain audience with them. Disney's audience and Nickelodeon's audience are two different things. I mean, those two different kids basically. So whom do I cater to? Is your content, does your content fit in the middle of this thing, or does it fit in one bracket or the other? So that is an important discussion to have. Again, knowing how to show, how does it help? How does your show help the channel or your client in beating the competition? I mean, if anybody is taking you, entertaining you to listen to your pitch, it is only and only for one reason, that they want to win the market. So your pitch and your ideas would be actually helping them to overcome and beat the market and be the market leaders. So that is does your content fit into that promise, that idea, is what we have to ask ourselves. The creators also have to like do a 360 approach to their thing, to their Bible and ideas, as to help you help you green light the show. One needs to also think about the potential of beyond the show. If it is the show, how does that show turn into other things like merchandise or franchises, or can it be converted into like a many parts movies or series? How does it develop? So that many many of the programmers and channel people can envision this thing, but this is not the case with all of them. You need to help, your channel partners to envision what you have in mind. And this is, I believe, it's very important in building the Bible, building a show, because that will not only help them, it will propagate you. I mean, you have to, that piece of content will have to carry you in a wave, so to speak. So coming to the basics of it, a Bible needs to have a show poster, show synopsis, story plot, log lines, sample script, character design, character description, samples of show art. I'll tell you in a while what I mean by that. I'll take an example of already released Oe Golu show on Disney Channel. Again, 11 minutes. It's done by Popcorn. It's actually a collaboration between Disney and Popcorn. So it has to, synopsis: the misadventures of a boy and a genie whose magic. It's an essentially a Doraemon. It's an essentially a Doraemon, because that was a brief. We had to develop something which is like kind of Doraemon, but not really in Indian context. That was the thing, to to replace the show or to compete with it. So that's the thing. So one line synopsis is best when it is described in as little words as possible. You don't really have to like have a paragraph of it, and choose your words so that the other person gets it by reading that 4 words, or sometimes it's just one line. So the idea of that is, sometimes it is called elevator pitch. In Hollywood, why they call elevator pitch? The executives are so busy that you catch them in the elevator and tell them, oh, this is Jaws with for example, this is Jaws with dinosaurs. Maybe that's your pitch line, so as small as that and effective. You know what Jaws is. If you replace the sharks with the dinosaur, what do you get? Like that kind of so your line should spark an imagination in their mind. So that is what it means. Story plots and log lines, of course, it's good to have that as a sample in the Bible. And the clients get to see what your stories are like. And we have the character description. This has to be really precise. What age group, who it is, where does he belong, the household, where does he live, what is his nature all about, how does it, so all of that. So character briefing is this section is needs to be as detailed as possible. You have to know the core of the character to be able to write precisely what he is. Character design, again, these are design oriented. Turnaround for, these are production purposes. Turnaround for animators. Character lineup, samples of the location where they are at, what place is it, which town is it, does it look like a hip little town, tier 1, tier 2 city, where do they belong, all of that information. Again, a couple of recommendations from my end for script writing as aspirants. Must read some of the books which are like great for developing your pitch and story. These books are very important because they are worldwide referred to. Save the Cat, one of the greatest. Many animation writers abroad in Disney refer to this book, so must have this thing. Seven basic plots. Again, it's a fat little book. Describes about it has diagnosed and rigorously ripped open many movies like Jurassic Park, or other popular movies, your Lord of the Rings, and everything. And there are only 7 basic plots of storytelling that exist in the world, it seems. So, very interesting. Which movie does fall into like what kind of archetype, hero archetype, or destiny, or any other thing of the 7 listed plots here. Very interesting book to read. Surely check it out. Pixar storytelling, again, it diagnoses all your Pixar movies. And Wiki King's how to write a movie in 21 days, very effective. And anybody who's interested in it, please check it out. Lastly, I'm just like nearing the end of the presentation here. I would like to talk a little bit about like role of marketing and promotion. Many of us, especially creators, have this thing about like marketing is such a bad word. I would say that actually marketing, if you use it wisely and not negate and fight them, it actually helps the content. Marketing pushes content wider to the wider audience, and like I said before, it goes to places with your content to such areas that your TV and your other things may not reach, like mall. The idea of marketing is, again, this is again an idea of 360, like the IKEA one. The omnipresent. I use the word here, omnipresent. Omnipresent. What is omnipresent? Omnipresent is God. He or she is everywhere. So what marketing will do is make sure that your content is seen and felt everywhere. It is that effective. Places that things that your content itself cannot do. Some of the marketing things will really take that ahead. One should always The creator should always work very closely with marketing people, and not just the regular ones. There are many people who are creative marketing people, and those fantastic ideas I have come across a couple of them in my days in TV. It is a very good tool. I would recommend anybody to work very closely with good marketing people, and they would really help your IP. That's it. I hope that it helped some of us who are here today, and I hope I've tried to. The topic is vast, and it's larger than this, but I tried to like sum it up in less than an hour. So I'm we can talk about, if anybody has anything to ask. I'll stop my presentation now, and that's that.
Thanks, Long. Thank you so much for that presentation. That was really insightful. There are quite a few questions that have come in. The first one is a straight up question that I'm sure that you get asked a lot
Mm.
is what are the kind of costings and what are the kind of numbers that happen between traditional broadcast, OTT, and YouTube for developing a series?
Okay. It's not actually, it is not such a stark number like this is it. I'll tell you what, something like the cost goes into making the production. See, OTT, I'll compare TV. At some point when in my era, TV, I used to, do this 50-50 collaboration with creators, but now they have realized that they'd rather do it themselves. So the costing there would differ now. So, somebody like Netflix wants doesn't work in that model. It wants you to go ahead and probably find your investor, or produce it yourself, and then bring it to them. So and that question for YouTube again, some of the people are investing their own money, some of the people are doing that. For YouTube content, there is no hard and rigid rules and everything. It can be just scribbly lines thing, as long as, and some roughly, there are many content on YouTube which are gaining traction and popularity, which are not high budget at all. And the quality also, you can tell that it is not just stick figures, animation and everything. As long as the content is right, I mean, you don't have to like invest tons and tons of crores of rupees into a content. And I said YouTube as a platform is great, because you don't have to deal with licensing fees, or you don't have to go to any platform owner and strike a deal or anything. Right here, right now, you can open one account and go public. That's the thing.
But isn't the concern with YouTube that if you set up an account in India, for example, the kind of returns that you get from ad revenue sales, Google
Yeah,
ad revenue sales,
is
it's very
different.
less as
It
compared to.
is. I would say it is not YouTube to be blamed. It is the advertisers in. I would take an example of India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh. I mean, we are not going further also, because US and everybody in India, according to the research, advertisers don't have faith in online advertising, so they'd rather give money to broadcasters like the TV network, big guys. So they still don't invest a lot of money on online platforms. Once that becomes a norm, YouTube ad is also, a lot of people are making a lot of money on YouTube, this thing. But then that see, I think click per that rate, no, that rate is, India is the lowest, even lower than your Bangladesh and Pakistan, because of the advertisers. I mean, this is not something that YouTube is responsible.
Okay. In terms of the next question is that how do you get your idea to a
Hmm.
a OTT or a digital platform? How do you get it to them? Because it's very difficult to get even a meeting with most of these executives. So how does one
Mm-hmm.
go about that process?
See, right now the thing is that you have to know somebody to know somebody. So that is the thing right now. It unless they are open in LinkedIn or everything, looking for a content, calling out. Uh, and Disney used to have this thing of some kind of a mela type thing, where they ask all the content creators and everything, to come about and pitch their ideas and everything. It was an open thing like a fest, but that is not there anymore. And I don't hear Netflix or these people asking or auditioning for such. If there is, we'll get to know. But right now, it's if you know some people, then only you'll be able to. There is no formulated thing to approach, or go to the studio and try to talk to some people there. I'm sure they'll help you out in some way. And this is how we used to get a lot of pitch and everything ideas also, because we don't advertise, right? I mean, Disney never advertised we need pitch and everything. We'll only tell the regular studios and everything, who had the regular partners who had worked with Disney before, and obviously they are now going to share it with the rest of the world.
Correct.
So
Correct.
that is how it is. I mean,
Okay. Now another question.
I was forgetting. Sorry.
Madam,
So a lot of people also came to Disney office. A lot of people came to Disney office. A lot of people search, like, for my email ID and everything. I used to get mails from like unknown people and everything, and we obviously entertain them. I mean, come to office, and somebody will schedule a meeting with somebody, and we get to meet them like that.
Okay.
So there is no closed doors to that idea. You can definitely go and speak to someone in the office.
Because we keep hearing stories of how a show, before it actually got picked up by somebody, had to go through at least like 4 different networks or 5 different production houses, or the idea really has to travel a lot before somebody actually picks it up. And then it turns out to be like one of the biggest ideas that was ever made, for example.
Yeah.
So why is it that, or is it just in India that people don't like to bite that easily, or is it something that happens across the globe, or is there some sort of a formulated way of doing this?
I think it's a similar case abroad also, because right now what I said about the history of elevator pitch. See, elevator pitch itself is a story in it by itself. It's a thing. You can check it out now. Elevator pitch. Elevator pitch means that one has to hound that producer of that movie studio, Universal or anybody, big movie studio, some writers, and anyone. Mm, for example, a Rocky movie. This Sylvester Stallone.
Mhm.
He had to go through a rigorous same thing.
Correct.
Sold his dog and everything to write the script and all that, and everybody had rejected because he wanted to act in it, and he went through hell to write Rocky 1, and it was quite a success. I mean, so and the situation is, I think here there's no story like that, which as hardcore as Rocky and Sylvester Stallone story. But yeah, you
But
can
we have a
definitely.
lot of humble beginnings in terms of Bollywood, at least.
We have to. I think everyone has to go through that grind. I'm sure.
Okay, so a couple of questions that have come in is one's by Vivekananda Roy Ghatak,
Hmm.
the director. I'm just saluting
Yeah,
out
yeah,
him.
yeah.
But
Hi, Vivek. Hi.
so he says that the tendency is broadcasters only work with big production houses. Is that true?
That's true. That's true. That's true, because you have to understand that these are big corporates, a big corporation. Um,
So
they
tried and
cannot be.
tested is the way that they'd rather go rather than trying out a new smaller
See,
production house.
it's a safe play. It's a safe play. It's a low risk thing on papers. Who are my partner? I'm a big studio, right? I'm a big studio. I have a big name. I have my reputation are in stock market and everything. I have got that reputation too. Anything that I do, the public will see. So I won't take names here. I am a big studio. I am giant of this industry and everything. Anything they do, anything I partner with, the world will know whom I'm partnering with. They will see, my investor will see, my stock exchange investors will see whom I'm partnering with. Are they doing this? So every move that a corporation does is scrutinized publicly. So the decision that they make have to be like sure. So they tell their executives the same thing. So I was an executive there myself. So I know this thing, because this is the same story with every giant corporation. But that doesn't mean that they don't partner with good people. I have given one example of this Oigolu. Oigolu had two people have started this thing. They are great artists. Popcorn Studios. Ronnie, I know him very personally. He had come like that. I didn't know him at all. So he had once like, swung by the office and everything and looking zap who to approach and everything. So somehow he came to me with the idea and everything. We were also looking for the next Doraemon replacement. This happened to come along the way, so I couldn't miss the opportunity, right? So I pitched to my boss, and my boss liked it, and her boss liked it, and then we made it happen. They are not known people. They are not known people at all. So after this, they had some traction because that Disney brand association is there and really helped them, and they are very talented. So trust me, their
Quick,
quality and everything is one of the top notch, and they
quick
were not known. So yeah,
quick question.
yeah.
Do these brands do consumer research? Like you said that there's consumer research that happens, but then do they do consumer research with their ideas as well? Like, so is the pilot shown to a test group, or
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, all of that
Yes,
happens as well?
yes, 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 yes.
Okay.
See, big corporations have their processes in place. They have to answer to their superiors every step they take. Like I said, so this test and everything is there to ensure that they are working with the best in the industry.
Okay. All
If
right.
you're small, some upcoming this thing also, I mean, you have a benchmark. I mean, people can tell that if you're small, it doesn't mean that you'll be rejected. If you have something there, if you have something there which they see that they can ride on the wave, that the same thing again. This is the same thing. That transactional relationship has to be there. Otherwise, there is no charity work happening here. So
Obviously,
your
obviously.
yeah yeah your idea has to speak to bring business for them and for yourself.
Mhm.
That
Got
is
it.
when you'll get the eyeballs.
Okay, so we've got another question from Origami Love, and that is there a point where you are fully satisfied with your script? Do you start working further after that?
See, honestly, uh, is he or she asking about this script or in general?
No, in general, it's a generalized question.
See, the thing is, I think I can answer this. This is two things. It's perfectionist versus let's get this thing done. You know, perfectionist approach, you will never stop. You will never stop. Trust me, you cannot stop, because if you are going to make this thing a perfect piece that nobody has done, and that's true. I mean, it's not our influences and everything has come from our own experience. It's never like it's out of the blue and nobody has seen it. And if it is nobody has seen it, it's an alien concept. It's the worst thing that it's the worst case scenario where nobody will understand what it is because it's so alien. So the word original has to have attachment with your experiences and your. It's a mixed potpourri of your what you have seen, what you have read, what
Mhm.
your experience, and it's what the new uniqueness that you have brought into that thing when you write a story is not devoid of no experiences. It will have some traces of your past. So if you want to stick with this original thing, like many people get confused with this thing. Original means like nobody has seen this, nobody has. No, it does not mean that. Somebody has seen it, somebody has. I have read it, I have seen it somewhere subconsciously. That's the reason why I'm being able to connect with your script. If I have not seen anything, heard anything before, I'll get confused.
Mhm.
So I hope I've answered. And then yes, you can stop your script at one point where you have parameters set for yourself. That have I three parameters? I have satisfied my audience. I have, for example, this may not be the three ones, but then again, if you have set those things, those goals for yourself, and that satisfies you, I mean, it should satisfy anybody. Remember, there are a lot of people like you, exactly like you. So if out of 10 people, two people rejects it, it does not mean the rest also doesn't like it. It's just that you don't know them, right? So
Okay, thank you so much, Long. I think that's all the questions, and I can keep asking you 10,000 more, but this is all the time we have for
okay, yeah,
right
yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah.
Thank you for your
Understand that.
time. And
Thanks.
thank you, viewers, everyone, for watching. Again, this is part of the pre-fest series. The actual fest is happening in November 26th and 27th. More about that soon. The details to buy the tickets is in the link description. Thanks, Long. Thank
All
you for
right.
your time.
Thanks.
Have a great day.
Thanks. Thanks,
Bye-bye.
JD. All right.
The first edition of the Animators Guild India Fest 2022 on the 26th and 27th of November at Pioneer Hall, Bandra West, Mumbai. Tickets available on Book My Show, presented by Solitaire.